Hi, this is Matt from Modern Samurai again, and today we're going to be looking at a few basic takedowns. Again, I've got Matt with me, he's going to help out today. So this video is basically in response to a request we had from Martin. He's basically asked us how would we take down a shoplifter. So we're going to look at a few basic takedowns that, not necessarily for a shoplifter, you know, for just about everyone. Just a few basic things, again, that don't take a great deal of learning, that basically rely on the mechanics of the human body. Alright, so this one we've nicknamed the Alien. For anyone of a certain age and you've seen the film, you'll remember that particular scene where, you know, the monster comes out and jumps on the person's face. So we call it that for that reason. Now, essentially what I'm doing here is I'm taking my opponent's balance by pushing up under the nose. Okay, and so what I'm doing here is I'm basically taking my whole hand and I'm putting it directly on his face here. So it's making it difficult for him to see. And what I'm doing is I'm hooking up under the nose with my thumb. Okay, and as I do that, I'm pulling the thumb up and pushing his forehead down. Now what you'll see there is this whole shape starting to give. So if we just turn this way on the map. And so here, look, if I absolutely have to, so if this isn't coming by itself, look, I can just come into the small of the back as well. I can use the thumb knuckle here or just push, okay, and just come this way. Alright, so if we come back down here. Now, I'm not coming at distance. So what I'm not doing is coming with an outstretched hand, because I'll lose it there. What I'm doing here is I'm checking into this arm as I go. So I'm stepping forward here, and I'm checking into this arm, or coming into the back. The reason for that is, as he starts to fall, almost certainly he's going to try and reach out and grab me. It's a natural reaction. Everyone will do it when they start to fall. So from here, look, I step in, up underneath the nose, okay, push the nose up. Once I get to this position, I'm literally just collapsing down on the forehead here. Okay, it doesn't take a lot of force. Okay, so that's what we call the Alien. Right, so onto the crumple then. So this is quite a simple one. Again, we're doing the same thing with regards to taking the person's balance. So I'm not trying to meet strength with strength. Okay, now from this position here, I can come straight into it. It can be used off an attack. So if he's throwing punches, I can cover up, come in. Okay, if he's basically just posturing up and giving it the big one, you know, the chest out kind of stuff, all that kind of behaviour. Okay, I can come straight in from there. If I need to, from my non-aggressive stance, I can come straight into the snatch from here. So if I'm here and I'm like, hey, yeah, we don't need to do this, and then all of a sudden, you know, I do have to do something, I can come straight in from here. Now, from this position, what I'm doing is I'm stepping in and I'm going into essentially what is a tight clinch. So I'm coming from this position to here. So I'm putting my hands around his neck. If you just turn around this way a minute back. Now, what I'm not doing is interlocking my fingers. I'm not doing this, okay? Hands are coming here like this. So come back round. Forearms are going on the chest line here. So from here, here. Okay, now I'm bringing my head in tight to him. I don't want to be here where there's headbutts and stuff, so I'm coming in tight here. Now from here, I lift my hands higher up his head, and I compress the head and push it towards his knees and away from me. It's a very difficult thing for him to resist. Now, just to give you guys an idea of this, if I hold here lower on the neck and I say, Matt, just lift your head a minute, now resist, don't let me pull your head down. Okay, now here, look, it's really hard to do so. So what I'm going to do is just bring my hands higher up on the head. Okay, so resist please. Really simple, and he is actually trying to resist that, okay, because it's not engaging all the muscles here. So by coming up further on the head, much easier to perform this. Now, the actual hand movement, it's not complicated, but the best way to do this is here, and then you're bringing your hands up and turning them like this. So we're basically doing this motion. So again, Matt, if I can just turn you this way a moment. So here, look, hands come up. I keep the elbows connected to the chest at this point. Now from here, I push the head towards the knees, turn the hands, and then push back, okay? So here, here. All right, so that's your crumple. Alright, so the next one then is one we like to call the Elvis. It'll become apparent why in a moment. So essentially this is just for want of a better word, just a trip or a sweep. Okay, it's not an actual throw. I'm not at any point picking up his body weight and transferring that. Okay, so this isn't a throw specifically, okay, but it is quite a particularly easy takedown to use. So from here, Again, we can do this from a number of different set positions, so I suggest practicing these kind of things from various different positions here. But essentially what we're going to do, Matt's just going to use this hand for the moment just for the sake of showing it to the camera, okay? Now, Matt here is going to throw a punch, so as he throws a punch here, look, I'm looking to check it or block it. Now bear in mind guys, if you just put your hands down, okay, there's no reason why I can't just come in and trap here, alright? So if I need to do this, what I'm looking to do here, again, from my non-aggressive stance, is, now just put your hand down, from my non-aggressive stance, I'm looking to check him here and here. So I'm not hitting him in the throat, okay? That's not it. What I'm doing is I'm barring across his chest, which is making his reaction difficult. If he tries to throw a punch from there, try and throw a punch, okay? Or if he tries to headbutt from there, okay, I can control him that way, all right? But also what I'm doing here is, again, I'm taking the balance, all right? It's really important that I do this because when I step through now, if I keep him where he is, right, and I step here, now we're 50-50, right, so he's got just as much chance of kicking me over at this point than I have of tipping him over, all right? So it's important that as I come into this, what I'm doing here is I take his balance and I step, okay? Now, at its most fundamental level, at its basis form, all I'm doing here is from my positioning, I'm just stepping and checking here, bump, and just bringing him over the leg. See? Very simple. Okay, but what we're going to do is we're going to make that a little bit more dynamic, and we're going to use what we call an Elvis. Now, for those of you of a certain age, you will remember who Elvis Presley was, the king of rock and roll, of course, and he had a specific way of moving. Back in the day, they wouldn't film him below the waist because it was considered too sexy, okay? Now, we're going to do a version of that. It's not very sexy, but nonetheless. So here, what I'm actually going to do now is I'm going to take the foot that I put past, I'm actually now going to bring it all the way around, and I'm coming up on the ball of my foot, and then what I'm going to do is snap back on the heel, boom, here, okay? Hence why it's called an Elvis. It's kind of similar movement to what I used to do. So it comes around, and then I snap back down on the heel. Now, watch the difference. Now, from this position, look, if I come here, and I step through, and I take him this way, we get a certain amount of movement. We'll just come this way a little bit, Matt, okay? Now, here, look, if I do the same thing, but I use this Elvis motion, so I step, my foot comes between his legs, and I'm up on my toes, and then I snap my heel down. It's a much quicker drop, okay? So once more with that, Matt, if you're okay, if you don't mind.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so from here, look, I can come this way. It doesn't matter, I can come off a throw, okay? The main thing is, the important thing is here. So if we're like clinched up, I can work from here. Okay, if he's throwing a punch, I can block and then go from there. Okay, the main thing is take the top balance, step through. So here, control, check, take the balance as I step, come through up on the ball of the foot, and then from here, snap the heel down. All right, good. Okay, so that's the Elvis. Now for the hip toss then. So a hip toss, this is actually a throw. What I am doing now is I am picking up the other person's body weight, but it's surprisingly easy to do once you understand how this works. Now, you know, if it's a much bigger guy, as long as I get under his centre, it's fine, okay? That's the thing that I need to understand, is that if his centre is here, I have to get lower, okay? Now, from this position then, again, we can step into this. I can literally just come straight in and step. So I can control on the wrist, hand comes up and through here. Now, what I'm doing, look, is I'm stepping my hip past. Where I want to be on this is I want to be here. Okay, I want my hip to be past his hip. Now, this arm is going to come around in this instance, and what I'd like to do here is grab onto the lat muscle here. Now, if we're looking at judo variants or various things like that, then a lot of that relies on you know, using the gi and things, and that's great. But if it's a brilliant, you know, bright summer's day, if he's got a weak t-shirt on like this, if I try and use his clothing, I'm just going to tear that off his back, and he's not actually going to go anywhere. Okay, so I'm not going to rely on the clothing. If he's got clothing and I can latch onto it, great. Okay, but I want to show a variant without that, because that's not going to be guaranteed that you're going to be able to use that. Okay, so from here, hand comes around, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to grab onto the lat of the back here. I can come just around the neck here, okay? Now, foot comes around, hips come past. Now, as I do this, I'm bending my knee, so I'm underneath his centre of gravity. Now, from here, look, I'm pulling the top half tight, and what I'm doing now is sticking my butt out, see? Now I'm underneath his centre of gravity, so it's easy for me to lift him up here. And now obviously depending on the ferocity of, of how far you want to throw, I can now throw him up and over or just bring him around. So if I just want to control him, I can bring him this way and just bring him over the hip here. Once more please, Matt. Okay, if I want to be a little bit more enthusiastic, shall we say, I can come into him here the same way, but now I pop it and boom, see? And now we're going up and over. Alright, so if you're going to practice this, guys, make sure the first thing you learn to do is fall, okay? If you can't fall safely, you don't want to be practicing throws, okay? And it's up to the person who's doing the throw-in to take responsibility as well. So if you need to do this and, it's a real situation, just be aware that they call judo, hitting somebody with a planet, all right? And it's very vital that we understand the damage that can be done from this kind of thing. If I'm dropping somebody on the floor like that outside, on the pavement, concrete, all that kind of thing, there is quite a risk of damage. So always try and help the guy down. So if I'm here and I control him here on the wrist, or again, if I've got to step into him, if he's fronting up, so just, this kind of thing here, look. Now from here, I'm just going to come in and trap here. Oh, see the leg this time has gone through. All right, so I've closed down that gap, and now from here, knees bent, butt out, yeah? Okay, simple as that. All right, so basic hip toss.